Hello everybody, Hellcrex here, and welcome to another Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, episode 325. And today we're going to be talking about the Thresher. It's one of those clan mechs. It's a second line mech. It's a 5/8/5, so it does have lots of abilities. It does have mask, so it can give a slight boost of speed. And well, it has some capability of getting around pretty quickly. So it's the forerunner of the Summoner. Yeah. All right. It does have Endosteel. It has a 300 XL engine. It has 13 double heat sinks, so it does have the capability of dissipating some heat. It has 9.5 tons of armor, standard slab armor, for 152 points of protection, which is, well, let's just put it this way. If you gave it ferrofibrous armor, you'd probably get another 30 points out of that thing. Just put it bluntly, without having to do much to it. So, yeah, it would have been nice if they would have put some ferro on this thing. Now, weapons loadout. It has an AC-20 Ultra in the right torso with 2 tons of ammunition. We have mask in the left. We have an ER medium laser in the left torso. We have an SRM-6 in the right arm with a medium pulse laser and a ton of ammo. Left arm, we have an SRM-6, a medium pulse laser, a ton of ammo. And then we have jump jets in the center torso and both right and left legs. Alright, so basically this thing fights like the Summoner. So if you got a Summoner, hey, you know how this thing's going to work out fairly well. But, you know, it's only 60 tons, so there is that. There's that little bit of difference. Not much, other than 10 tons, but you kind of fight the same way from my experience. And, you know, you got some mobility with it. You do have the boost of speed if you want to. Knowing my luck, usually it's like, oh, crud, I just locked up a leg and caused damage to myself. That's how I usually operate when it comes to mass, but you know, your luck may be a lot different. But the only thing is with this mech is that, you know, you got an AC-10 Ultra, so you're not looking at extreme range when it comes to this mech. You know, it's one of those deals where, you know, you're not going to be shooting out very far with the Ultra Cannon. Yeah, you got an 18 range, and you have the possibility of doing 20 points of damage with it if you're double pumping. So you can do the double pumping for 10 turns. And the life expectancy probably isn't going to be even anywhere near that, but you can give it a shot. So there's that. It does have some, sort of gives me the feeling like an Orion in a way too, with, you know, how you got the autocannon and you have the SRMs and stuff, but it doesn't have an LRM launcher. So the main drawback is range. You're going to have some mechs out there that are going to just totally dominate it at longer ranges. And it isn't until you get in close with this thing that you actually start dishing out some damage. So there's that. And, you know, with the SRMs, you got 15 turns, so that's more than enough. You got 10 turns with the autocannon, so it does rely on a lot of ammo. But to be honest, it's probably not going to be around for 10 turns. So you might as well just start dishing out the damage as quick as possible. And then when you get into 12 range, then you're obviously going to be tossing in the 2 medium pulse lasers. Now your ER medium laser, obviously that goes out to 15. So when you hit the 15 mark, then you can possibly get up to 27 if you double pump and you're able to hit. So that's the only problem I have with Ultra Cannon, is that you have to hit the first time, and then you got to roll another number to see if you even get 2 of those to hit. And you're paying the price of the heat. But really, when you got 26 heat sinks with this thing, it's not going to be a big deal until you start getting in closer. you know, at the 9. When you got the standard SRM6s getting tossed into the mix. So there's that. Not that it's a big deal, but you know, then you start looking at your damage output starts going up. But you know, you got the heat that goes with it. And you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 16 plus 8, 24. The only time this mech ever has a heat problem in this configuration is if you jump. All right. So if you jump 5, then you go up to 29 heat and you're dissipating 26. So you're going up 3. So, but that isn't really a big deal because, to be honest, you can just say, I'm not going to fire one of my SRMs for the next turn. It's gone. You know, the heat disappears. And then you're going right back at it again. So it's like every other turn you can pretty much, I'm firing everything. Well, I guess the big thing would be the auto can. Obviously, yeah, I forgot about that. There's 6 heat that can be pumped out with that. So, yeah, you can basically run, fire everything, do that for 4 turns. Or you can jump, and then you're going to go up. And then you got to figure out how much you're going to dissipate. And to be honest, if I'm up close, I'm going to be firing the pulse lasers because, you know, those are going to be things that offset your jumping penalties to some extent. Not all of it, but, you know, it depends on what kind of pilot you toss in this thing. So, it's one of these mechs that, you know, would make a good city fighter, or, you know, it's kind of a night fighter because everything it has is close and it wants to be in your face. And if you're fighting against, let's say, inner sphere mechs, it can bully, you know, its damage output is pretty decent. So it can bully a lot of heavies and mediums and lights. Now, when it comes to going up against assaults, your life expectancy may be shortened greatly. But, you know, with your mobility you have, I would be, you know, you're cutting the edges and you're going around the flanks. You know, it's a cavalry mech. And your standard clan style of tactics, of mobility, you're using the maximum amount of mobility. And there's nothing wrong with having some other mechs that are jump capable or slightly faster that are out in front of this thing. And then they're attracting more of attention, allowing you to get closer. And then you start dishing out the damage. Because when this thing really, it can put out a good fair amount of damage really quickly. And if you hit with everything, and you get some good SRM rolls for how many you're going to hit. Typically it's 4. So if you got 4 and 4, if you hit with both of them, you know, that's 8, that's 16. That's, you know, a lot of, that's your crit hunting weapon systems. And typically you're going to be scraping off, well, with your 2 pulse lasers and your ER medium laser. There's possibly 21, and then you got the 2 autocan possible hits. So if you typically, in my experience, you're going to get, most time it's 1. But, you know, every once in a while you're lucky enough to get 2, but you're still paying a penalty for the double, the heat that comes with that. So it's one of those things where try to have something that's a little faster, a little more mobile. Like, heck, if you threw a Fenris or something like that out in front of you, where you are having them attract a little bit more attention, but they have the speed to shrug off a lot of shots coming their direction with the mods, especially if you're fighting against standard, you know, typical inner sphere, when most of the pilots are 4s. A lot of times they're going to be missing. Occasionally, yes, your box cars and 11s come into play. It happens. There's been times like you got 3 weapons shooting at you and you roll all 3 and it's like, wow, I just hit with all 3. And it was like, oh, I better go play the lottery type of thing. So there's that. So you just have to look at how it's all going to be panning out. But when this mech gets in close, hey, you can dish the damage out. Now, there are a actually just another variant of this mech. Well, the original battle value of this is 2,300, so just a tad over 2,300. So it does come at a cost, but you know, it is one of those things. Now coming in just a little bit, you know, I think it's 20 more points higher than is the Thresher 2. Now this one does a slight change. You know, it takes the AC 10 Ultra and replaces it with an LBX 5. So basically you've got a shotgun. All right, so I can't remember. I think this one maybe only has a single ton. I can't remember. It might have 2 tons of ammo. I don't remember. I have to look at the sheet sometime. But I think it's 2. So you got an LBX 5 replacing the Ultra Cannon, and in turn, the weights that you saved from it is, I think must be 1, because I think it's a savings of 3 or maybe 4 there. And you take the 2 pulse lasers and they replace it with 2 ER large lasers, and you're coming in at a little over 2,300 battle value. So now you have the ability to shoot out a lot farther, you know, because you got the LBX cannon, the LBX 5, that obviously that's going to be doing pretty decently for your range. You know, that goes out to 24 with your cluster munitions. Typically, I would just shoot cluster, and then you got the 2 large lasers. You know, that's going out to 25. So yeah, that gives you some good distance. So now you're able to really bully at longer distances against most inner sphere mechs. You know, if you're fighting against clans, it's a wash, because you know they're going to have just as good a range versus you as you have on them. But you know, you're going to be kind of running around the flanks again, you know, doing little plinkers. The damage output of this mech is, I'd say you're not really losing much when it comes to the ultra cannons. You know, you have a potential of 20 with those, and then you just upgraded 2 of your pulse lasers to 10s from 7s to 10s. So in reality, your damage output has gone down, but your price of battle value went up. So there's a give and take there. So you're gaining the distance at the cost of more battle value and a little bit of damage. So yeah, in some ways, you might have considered replacing that ultra cannon with a couple large pulse lasers. Yeah, the damage output have been the same. Heat though goes up, but you combine it with your, you know, it's like you're going to be doing some good damage with that. Yeah, you could, or you can just say you want a large or an ERPPC or something. But you know, it's fixed when it comes to that. So yeah, it's one of those deals where you have to figure out what you want to do with it. Yeah, you're not going to see these Threshers on the battlefield very often, because there's other fancier looking clan mechs that are going to be filling the voids that you may have. But yeah, it is what it is. Now let's see, where is it? Okay, here we go. We got the Thresher Mark II. This one comes in a lot farther. I think this one came. Yeah, this is a 3150 mech. So way down the line, this one, same thing, but now you got same thing, extra light engine. You got 13 double heat sinks. The speed, I think, is the same. Yeah, same speed. Okay. Now what they did was they changed out the weapon system, so that now they have an ERPPC, a large pulse laser. So they just did what I just was describing. And then they have, instead of the SRMs, they have an LRM-15, and then you have an SRM-4 and a flamer. So and this one comes in at 33.5 little over 33.5 battle value. That's a lot more expensive, but you know it's going to have some hard-hitting pieces of the puzzle when it comes to what you have. So there's that. But it also has case. Let's see. Does it say how much? 2 tons of ammunition for the LRM-15, and you have a ton with the SRM-4. So, but it has case too, and it has I think an improved targeting computer to go with those. So it will hit hard when it comes to those two, the ERPPC and the large pulse laser. So there's that. But overall, that is the Thresher. It's worth looking at. It's one of those mechs. It's not a master of anything, but it's worthy of giving it a shot and throw it on the table just to see how it does, and maybe even picking up a model. Because basically, I would do is if you don't have one, use a summoner and call it the Thresher stats, and then give it a shot and see how it works for you. All right, that's it. That's all there is. Hope you guys like it. Like and subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Alcrex out.